Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the MatchNet podcast. Today we have again Dr. Chang with me, and she's going to be sharing about her 40-day spiritual workshop that participated. When do you participate?
It was from December 23rd to January 31st.
Nice. So basically at the end of last year, and the power of Changxing One. And it's a very recent experience for her. And as she will say more, but rebirth experience. So please share with us why you went there and what happened.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for having me back. Yeah, so the 40-day spirituality workshop, actually, the one that I went to was the sixth workshop that was taking place. And I didn't know that this spirituality workshop was taking place. You know, the Changpyeong Training Center has been known for over 20 years to be a place where we can expel, these evil spirits, these dark spirits. And it's a place that we know of being a spiritual place. But from my experience and my feeling, it's always been a little bit taboo to talk about spirituality growing up. And actually we were kind of, what's the word? We weren't really encouraged to open our spirituality while we were growing up. It was thought to be dangerous. We can be possessed by evil spirits, or we can feel as though, I think that there was always that fear of being influenced too strongly by these spirits. So when I found out that they were holding the spirituality workshop, it was incredible for me. I just thought, wow, really? What's going on that I don't know about? And I just want to share a little bit about what was going on and why I ended up going, because it's not an easy decision to go and commit to 40 days away from your home, especially if you have 5 children and all these other responsibilities at home, right? And last year I shared that I in the other interviews that we did, that I graduated. I received my doctorate, and I thought, the 5 years up to when I got my doctorate was difficult. That's what I thought. I thought that was the Mount Everest that I climbed. Like, that was the most difficult. But actually, after I received my doctorate seal, it was last year at the end of March. I can say that I felt like it was only like 2 days of happiness. I was so happy that I got my doctorate. I called all my friends. I thanked everyone that was involved in helping me receive my doctorate. But then after 2 days, I kind of started to feel really anxious. And I kind of felt like, oh my goodness, this doctorate that I received is not such a great achievement. It's actually just the beginning of everything that I really want to do. And I felt actually like this really huge sense of like being overwhelmed with, oh, now I have to do so many things. But on the other hand, I wanted to share what I finally accomplished. So I was meeting more elders and leaders, and I was just sharing my work. And actually the feedback that I got, or of what I was trying to do, it was not taken well by many leaders. And that was a real, it was kind of like a real pain for me. There's a lot of pain for me. So I was, I had spoken to about 100 people up until that point. I had, made a list of all the people that I shared my work with, and also my research. But now that I had this book, this dissertation book, I thought, okay, it's solid. I got my degree. I'm gonna share. But actually, that time until I entered the 40-day workshop was the most difficult time of my life. It was
Wow.
so bad for me that I was emotionally, also spiritually, uh, mentally, the lowest point in my life, the lowest low. And nothing or no one could help me. And I actually, because I really thought that I could, since I got my doctorate, maybe I would have more credibility and people would listen to me, because a lot of the things that I was saying was very controversial, and it was against our systematized belief system. And so I ended up really judging a lot of the leaders, judging people. I became extremely judgmental. And um, I ended up even coming to a point where I really started even hating myself. And I felt like this work that I did was for nothing. If I don't receive support from, the elders or the leaders, then what I'm doing is not going to, it's going to amount to nothing. And I had this fear. I started getting this really strong sense of fear that I would even be ousted from the community, or I would be ostracized, even my children. And I mean, a lot of these fears people shared with me. What if you share this work, then what if you become kicked out? What if you get fired? What if your husband's position is jeopardized? Like all of these um, ideas and thoughts were around me for a few months. And so I was in a state of constant like anxiety, fear, depression. I was not liking myself. I felt, uh, and then on top of that, I didn't like going to church. I really didn't like going to church because I felt that people they weren't getting mother's message across, and there was just a lot of things that I just was not happy with. And I felt that about now would be the time for many things to become more open and there'd be more sharing. But that's not how I felt. I didn't feel like that at all. So um, I think it was in November, I had this dream, and I was at the training center, and I was with a whole bunch of young people, and we were running up the hill to go see True Mother. We were running up the hill to go see True Mother. And I remember waking up thinking, why would I, go to the training center and hang out with all these young people? Why would I ever do that? And I just thought, okay, this is just, one of, in Korean, they call it kekum. It's just it's just like a nothing dream kind of. And and that day in my dream, I ran so fast. I ran faster than all the young kids, and I ran up to mother. I sat next to her, and she gave me this big diamond ring. It was like a pink diamond ring, and I took it, and I was looking at it, and I was polishing it, and I had it on. And then she threw me like a handful of diamonds, like just a handful, and they fell all over the table, and I was gathering them all up. But I looked behind me, and there was like 1,000 young people sitting there. And I was helping True Mother translate to teach them. But again, I thought, why would I ever be with these young kids? What would cause me to ever be in this kind of surrounding in the training center? Now, I love going to the training center. I really love it. I love going there and just going up the mountain and praying. So I have nothing against a training center. I love going there, but I just never thought I would ever join a workshop. Not at my age anyways. But then it came to the point after that dream where I became so depressed because I felt like I can't really put my work out, and I couldn't focus on finishing like my lectures. I couldn't focus. I couldn't focus. I didn't want to go to church. I isolated myself. I was very depressed, very judgmental, and I was regretting having, uh, given 5 years of my life to this work. And I remember this one day, my husband, he came home and he was telling me, honey, there's a spirituality workshop taking place. I think you should go to that. And I was like, a spirituality workshop? What is that? What is that? And the more I found out, the more I felt like I can't go because the age limit was from 20 to 30. And I'm 48. And I thought, oh my goodness, the training center is very strict about these kinds of things. I won't be able to go in. So I started crying. I thought, I really wanted to do something about spirituality. It's something I've been interested in my whole entire life. And finally, the church was supporting this 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 way to build our spirituality. And now I couldn't go. It was only for the young people. So I remember I started crying and crying, and I went into the bathroom, and I just sat in the bathroom, and I said, "This is my place. I'm good for nothing. I'm worth nothing. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm just gonna die here." So upset. And my husband, he picked me up because I refused to leave the bathroom. He picked me up and he plopped me down on the bed and he said, "Honey, you've got to get a hold of yourself. Don't worry, I am going to get you into the 40-day workshop." And so he spoke to some people, and then Reverend Igisong, I heard that Reverend Igisong was saying, "Of course we have to accept her. She wrote a dissertation work about the only begotten daughter, and she's willing to come by leaving her 5 children behind. How can we not accept her?" And that was just like I guess the light in the tunnel, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So I ended up going. To the 40-day workshop. It was December 23rd. It was 2 days before Christmas. And in our family, we like to, celebrate Christmas. And so I was really sad about that. My children were really upset about that, but I made them a Christmas dinner before I left. And then I went. I packed up my stuff and I went. And my husband promised that he was going to take good care of the kids, not to worry about them. And at this point, I couldn't even think about my children. I was just so full of myself, I guess, just so full of myself. And I didn't like myself. So I felt like I'm not good to anyone. Yeah. So that was the reason why I ended up going, and that's how I got it.
Do you know what is the difference between the spiritual workshop and the normal 40-day workshop?
Yeah. So the normal 40-day workshop, you have a lot of free time. You are not forced to join any of the programs. It's all up to you. If you want to go to the lectures, you can go. If you want to go to the prayers, you can go. If you want to do ansu, you can go. So it's not, you're not required to go. But the 40-day spirituality workshop is a very intense schedule of praying, offering cheongsong, being at the lectures, and you have to be at every single schedule. Yeah, everything. You have to be every single ansu. You can't miss anything. Now, if you do happen to miss something because you become ill, then you have to receive permission. Like, you don't have any freedom. Yeah, that's the difference. So, yeah.
What is the age range of your children?
Oh, of my children. So my young is 8 and my oldest is 14.
Wow. Yeah. Pretty rough.
Yeah. Actually, the whole time I was at the workshop, my husband said, "Don't worry, the house is going to be clean." Because my husband's like, he's like, he's really clean. He loves cleanliness. So I was thinking, oh, okay, he'll be able to take care of things. But after I came back, after 40 days, there was like, I could see the dust. And I asked my husband, I said, "Honey, how many times did you guys vacuum the house?" And he was like, "Maybe once during the 40 days.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
it's crazy.
So how was the workshop?
Oh yeah, so the workshop, so the first 10 days was the most difficult time of adjustment. And if you listen to the Chen Xinwan testimonies, because I know how to do like a qualitative research now, so I've heard over hundreds of testimonies, and there's like this way that they give their testimony, and there's kind of like a process that each person went through, and I think it's very similar. And I went through that process. So it's like the first 10 days, everyone thinks that you are the only one who's going through this difficulty, this adjusting period. And it's funny because when people start sharing their testimonies, you find out that every single person had the exact same difficulty that you had while you were there. And I have to tell you, the first 10 days, I was struggling not to leave. I wanted to bolt out of that door. I wanted to go back home. And I was calling my husband every single day because he suggested that I come. And I mean, I gave a testimony at the Chenchenwan Prayer Hall. And the letter, the testimony, because we have to all write it out and read it. That's just like the tip of the iceberg. It was just like a very nice, nice testimony. But actually, I'll share more about what it was more like for me in reality. But I wanted to like bolt. And I remember this one time we were practicing to sing because we had to sing maybe 2 or 3 times a week on the stage. And I hated that. I felt a little bit embarrassed because there was two other people, including myself, three people, including myself, who were over 50. So I was 48. There was a lady who was 55, and then there was one of the Japanese lecturers. He's the Chanyang King, Yokoi, Mr. Yokoi-san. He was there. It was just the three of us that were more like, the older people, and then everybody else was like 20 or 30. So I really also felt like, what am I doing here with all these young people? Why am I listening to all these lectures? And I was getting really mad at my husband because I also felt that even the training center was not supporting mother. They have their own agenda. It's not aligned with her words. And I had all these complaints. And my husband listened to me every night. And later when I became much more closer to some of the female participants, they were telling me, oh, Auntie, we thought you were kind of crazy. They would walk back and forth from the washroom, and they would see me talking on the phone, and I'd be really upset. They thought, oh, she's one of those crazy ones. And so I had a really, really hard time. I wanted to bolt. So yeah, when we were practicing the choir, I remember standing in the front line of the choir, and I was staring at the exit door. I just kept on staring at that, and I wasn't even singing. I refused to sing, and I was acting really silly. Like this small little immature, I guess, teenager. And I kept on telling them, no, Yeunhee, do not run out that door. If you run out that door, you're going to hurt everybody here. You're going to completely ruin the atmosphere here. So do not run out that door, no matter what you do. But I just wanted to leave. I wanted to go home. And I wanted to tell my husband this was a stupid idea. I don't know why I decided to come here. Why did I listen to you? And yeah, so after that, we were doing answer every day. And, I had lots of physical problems. I had a lot of physical problems. So I had this disc problem. My neck, I must have had it for almost 20 years, but it got really, really bad the last 3 years because I was always sitting. I was sitting from anywhere from 6 hours to 16 hours, just straight on the computer. And my posture became really bad. And I had this terrible disc problem. But I also had like 3 lumps in my breast, in my left breast, that ever since I had my first child, it started to form, and it was getting bigger and bigger. And I got it checked over the years to make sure that it wasn't like a tumor, or if it was, to make sure it wasn't cancerous. But they told me that there was nothing wrong with it. But I had this really uncomfortable pain. It was a really uncomfortable pain, and I was always pressing that area, and I didn't know what to do. And actually, I always went and did Chanyang, but when the coronavirus came back in 2020? We all started doing Chanyang at home through Zoom. And then little by little, I just started to forget the importance of spiritual, the evil spirit removal, or, the dark spirit removal. I just kind of forgot, the effects of doing it.
Mm.
But when I was at the training center in that first week, when I started doing Chanya, like my left breast, it was so painful. Like it was just kind of like all these small little, what I felt like there were a whole bunch of dots, and they were all buzzing. They were like they're just going crazy. And at this one point, I couldn't breathe while I was doing China. I couldn't breathe. It was so painful. I keeled over, and I ran all the way to, there's a small prayer hall behind the Chunjingon prayer hall, and that's where they do the individual ansu sessions, like for
Mm-hmm.
people who have really, really, really bad health or some kind of really, something that they can't do on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So because it was so painful and I didn't know what was going on, I ran there. I just ran. I was like, I need help, help, help. And so there were three young second generation trainees who were learning how to do the China. And Mr. Kim Dok-soo, he's the person responsible for doing the China. So he's a man, so he can't do my chest area. So he asked the three ladies to work on me. So there were six hands on my body, just like patting me everywhere, and I was crying and crying and crying, and it felt like thousands of needles just going through my body. That's what it felt like, and I could see just like they were patting, and all these like dark, I can't even call them bruises, but they're, because when you get punched by somebody, the bruise is not like that. It doesn't look like that. So I had all this bruising, and then the pain stopped. The pain completely stopped, and I saw more of what was happening. Like the lumps started to disappear. Yeah, over the
Wow.
period of 40 days, and then after I left 40 days, I didn't have any more pain there at all. So, and then also Mr. Kim Dok-soo, he told me to come to the Chuncheon prayer hall and to sit in the left at the back, and he would come and he would work on my neck. So he knows like the degree of how much he can answer somebody. Uh, because if you do it too hard, or if you do it wrong, that you can actually damage them. But he knows exactly how to do it. And when he gives his education sessions, he told us that he has 10 liberated good ancestors who are all herbal doctors working with him. So when he looked
Mm.
at me, he knew that I had pain here, with my jaw. And I always knew my jaw was slightly crooked, but only I knew. But he looked at me, he says, your jawline is slightly crooked. That's the cause of your disc problem. Like he just told me everything that I was trying to find answers for. So he pretty much fixed my disc problem. I mean, in that one session, he kind of punched my back here like 5 times on my left shoulder because I had such a bad muscle like tension. And then he did China for me. He told me that I had coronavirus in my neck, and he like did some of the China for me there. And I felt like a layer of skin came off on the inside of my neck. That's how I felt, because for 2 days I was coughing, and then I don't know if you ever have the coronavirus cough. It always feels like there's something stuck in your throat.
Mm.
But after 2 days, it just felt like some skin had just lifted off on the inside. And I don't have that anymore. So I was just healed. I was becoming healed over all of this China. And I was amazed, just amazed by that, just by the physical difference that I was feeling in my body. But then I had this really interesting, I guess, like profound spiritual experience while I was there. And it must have happened um, maybe more towards the middle of the workshop, but I had done, the central spirit removal. Have you heard about that? Central
Yeah.
spirit removal? Yeah. So, they kind of call it like the gangster spirit. You take out these strong gangster spirits. And they said to write down on the sheet, what is something that's most difficult for you? And I was thinking for a long time, which central spirit should I take out? So we started becoming very interested in that central spirit removal. There was kind of like a joke um, amongst us. We were all saying, wow, we can blame the spirit, the central spirit, for almost everything now. It's like, oh, that spirit, it was a spirit. The spirit made me do it. Because that's kind of how the education was. And they were saying that actually 95% of the illnesses that we have or disorders that we have are all spiritually related. You know, whatever
Mm.
they're making like blockages in your body, in your circulation, it's causing illnesses. And you know, one of the lecturers was telling me that spirits are very dense. They're actually quite heavy. So I experienced everything that they were talking about. And um, I remember I did the central spirit. I asked my husband, I said, honey, which central spirit do you think I should remove? And he was very careful. He was like, no, 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 honey. You figure that out. You figure that out. I'm not going to tell you what I think needs to be removed. And I was like, no, just tell me, tell me. And he was like, you know what it is. You know what it is. Don't have. So I was like, okay, okay. I'm going to remove the spirit of fear. So a fear of wanting to tell the truth, and also the spirit of judgment, because
Mm.
I just hated judging people. Why? And I always have these thoughts. I had many thoughts going through my head, many thoughts. And until I did this central spirit removal, I thought they were all my thoughts. I
Mm.
thought they were all my thoughts. I'm so ingenious because I have all these thoughts and all these ideas, and I thought they were mine. But what happened was when I did the central spirit removal, I felt them coming out of my body. It's like they were coming out. I can feel them. And I remember that Saturday morning, as I was sitting doing the central spirit removal, I became shocked because all these voices that I heard in my head were gone. They were gone.
Mm.
And I was so shocked that I think I didn't speak for almost 5 days. I didn't speak for 5 days. And I was kind of known. I was known for sharing a lot and talking a lot and always being excited and wanting to share more, especially about your mother and my research. But all of a sudden, because I stopped talking, all the girls were like, they were asking each other, and then they would come to me. Who was brave enough to come up to me because they said that I looked really scary too. They said that I had this really scary look on my face all the time. And so they were wondering why I stopped talking. And I was just telling them, I was like, no, 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 you guys don't understand. You don't understand. I'm going through something right now. I'll tell you later. Just let me have this experience. And I was just sitting and I felt so much peace in this chest area. Uh, like everything was going to be okay. And I heard nothing. Like just it's like being in a very silent room, and then on top of that, you don't hear anything in your mind. I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
Mm.
I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
No, I haven't. I want to, but I haven't. Yeah.
So, and then something happened. That spirit of judgment was gone. And there were several people that were walking around the training center that I knew very well, but I always avoided them. I didn't want them to talk to me. I found them a little annoying, and I was just, oh gosh, no, 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 I don't want to, but don't speak to me, don't speak to me. But I approached these people. I was sincerely wanting to say hello to them and wanting to know how they were. And I surprised myself because I didn't know where that sincerity came from. But it was like a real genuine, I just really felt like, why did I ever think that that I didn't want to talk to this person or want to know this person? Yeah. So I felt like that. And I just felt amazed by that. And then after that experience, I couldn't stop crying. I didn't know why I was even crying. I was just constantly crying. So for for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, it was throughout the whole workshop. In the morning, I would wake up in tears. At nighttime, I would be crying. So I was just always crying. And I asked our prayer, he's the person who was teaching how to pray. And he was, because we would do yelling prayers. We would like scream at the top of our lungs. And I asked him, what's going on with me? What's happening to me? And he was telling me, you're feeling like the Holy Spirit. You're feeling the also Heavenly Mother's heart. So I would just, I had many dreams about your mother, but mother never appeared to me the way that all of these young people were experiencing mother. And the way they were experiencing her at the Chunxing one was they kept on seeing her crying. They saw her crying. But mother never appeared to me crying up until that point. So maybe I was not a mature child. Maybe I couldn't handle her tears. But in the way that I experienced her mother spiritually was she was always encouraging me, telling me that I can go, you're doing a good job. She was always fighting for me. Whenever something happened that I was really struggling with and I prayed about, then that night I would see her in my dream, and she would be get upset, like, how could this happen to you? And yeah, so she never cried in front of me. So I couldn't imagine that this could be True Mother's tears. And then the more I thought, I started to really pray more deeply about Mother, because I had a very intellectual knowledge about Mother, because I was just studying and I had an interest about Mother. But through that time at the Chunxinwan, through my time of prayer and really trying to understand True Mother's heart, I just was in there crying. I don't know where the tears were coming from. They're just constantly coming, and they're coming and coming. And um, yeah, those were, then I realized, wow, it's much faster to experience True Mother's heart through prayer and through these kinds of spiritual experience. Uh, I mean, it's good. It's good to do all the reading and understanding who True Mother is, other people's experiences, and all these other stories and books. But you really want to have not just the physical experiences, but also the spiritual experiences that I was having. So yeah, near the end of the workshop, I became very, very sick, very sick, because I really wanted to, of course, do my best. So I tried to keep up with the schedule. And yeah, you can't fake being older than the people, because the young people, I mean, some of them got sick once in a while, but they bounced back. But I was just, oh my gosh, I lost my voice because of all the yelling we were doing. And then when I went home, I was coughing up phlegm for 3 weeks. I was just in bed for 3 weeks, yeah. And all this nasty stuff was just coming out of my chest. And but then, yeah, the lumps went away in my chest. I could breathe better. My overall health was just incredible. I really felt it after a month. And when Reverend Igisang, he spoke to us before we all left, he said something that stayed with me. He said, now that you have all received your stamp, or kind of you have gone through the process of rebirth, he said, now the spirit world will be watching you. So you cannot sin. Do not create any more sin. And because throughout the 40 days, the part of the program is to do reflection. Every night you reflect on your day, you reflect on yourself. And then you have to share that reflection. So you share your difficulty, your challenges of the day, and how you overcame it. So we had created a good habit. But I went home, and then I'm faced with my 5 children for about a week. That spiritual experience that I had, it was with me the entire time. But when I went home, all of a sudden, I started to hear the voices. And I came to realize that those voices was not me. So while I was doing the workshop, I realized that any negative voice that I heard in my head was not me.
Mm.
It was not me. So I would catch that voice. So throughout the day, if my kids were started fighting, um, it was my impulse to yell at them or to just, like stop or whatever. But for the first week, I felt really calm, really at peace. But then, life happens. Life starts. And it was for the first 3 months, I continued to do the Chunshimon prayer.
Mm.
For a whole month, I participated, and after that, I went just twice a week, and I tried to get my children into the habit of doing the 10-minute. We have the 10-minute ansu every day for 10 minutes because it's great because I was thinking, oh gosh, I really want to continue the spirit removals, but to go to ansu every single day is really difficult. But now we can do it at home over the Zoom and just for 10 minutes. And it's been almost 7 months, and my kids are still doing it. We do it every day. We haven't missed one day.
Wow.
Every day, except the weekends because they don't do it on the weekends. But it's really helped. And now my kids, they know that it's time to do it.
But they do it really and late, right?
Well, it's at 10 o'clock at night, so it's only 10 or 15 minutes. And then right after that,
Mm.
sometimes they like to hear the reports from the main lecturers at the training center because it's spiritual stuff. You know how in the Western culture they share like ghost stories or bedtime stories, and love that, right? So my children, when they started to hear all of the spiritual activity that's going on, like nationally throughout Korea, they love hearing those stories, especially my two youngest boys. He's what, 7 or 8, and then the other one is 10. They just sit. They just sit in front of the screen. They just listen in awe.
That's cute.
So I thought, yeah, yeah. If we want to teach our kids about the spirit world, it's it's good to share those kinds of experiences. They really love it.
Mm. So
Yes.
what do you will say that like the impact of this 40-day workshop in your work or helping through mother? What do you think is has been that its significance and its impact?
Oh yeah. So the year before, I had just so much baggage and so much stuff. It's like garbage, like in my head. I was judging people. I couldn't understand. I had little compassion for their situation, little empathy from where they were coming from, and I was just kind of like I had this mind that uh, I'm just gonna. I'm the one who can help mother. Um, gosh, I was proven wrong on so many levels, and so but also because I stopped hearing all these voices, my focus became so clear. So I could
Mm.
finish my writings, I could finish my PPTs. I created 3 lectures in 1 month. In one
Mm.
month. So these lectures that I'm giving at the training center now, realizing I'm living at the same time as the only begotten daughter. That's the title of my lectures. I worked on them in 1 month. I mean, I've been updating them over the past month, and I've been working on them. But then I could write my journals, and the level of focus clearing out of all these dark spirits. And also the interesting thing is that every single time I think something negative, I can catch myself really quickly.
Mm.
And yeah, so yeah, I mean, now I'm living my dream. I'm living the dream that I had, which was to teach about True Mother, to teach anything about True Mother. And I'm finally able to do that. I'm finally able to do that. So yeah, I received just so much guidance from the spirit world. And also, yeah, Mother's continuously, she appears in my dreams. And now, lately, I see her crying.
Mm.
Yeah. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe I have matured. I have matured, and I can receive mother's tears.
Mm,
And yeah, so I feel that now I have a deeper sense of compassion and empathy for a lot of the people who are finding it difficult to receive mother's words. Um, of course, I feel whatever needs to be corrected needs to be corrected, because as a mother, with a mother's heart, because when you raise children, you have to tell them why this is not right, why this
mm,
is wrong, and why it can be hurtful to your friends and to your neighbors, and why we have to do it a certain way. So I can now teach, I feel, more with that parental heart. And I guess it's not enough to just become parents. We have to really work on ourselves to become like heavenly parents, to become like the true parents, to have this
mm,
parental heart. So I really, yeah, I went through, yeah, this rebirth. It was really rebirth for me.
mm,
And I received, just a few days ago, I received a letter from my son. He went to a workshop and they had to write a letter to their parents, and he said, "Mommy, thank you so much for making the effort to uh, not be mad at us, because I speak differently." I remember when I came after the 4-day workshop, I came home and I yelled at my kids. Wow, something like there, I could feel the spirits in my chest. The ones that were, so they were all acting up. I could feel them. And then I went, oh my goodness, okay, I shouldn't talk like that to them. So I
mm,
became very careful, always reflecting on myself. And yeah, yeah, this is not trying to see myself from a third person perspective. That's a teaching that I learned from someone through my research. They said that that's how they reflect. They try to see themselves from God's perspective. How would God see me? So I really started to do that consciously.
mm.
Yeah. So yeah. Well.
I really love how what you share about it's not only intellectual that in an intellectual way that we need to understand through mother the providence ourselves, right? But the importance of spiritual, right? A spiritual
Yeah.
experience and a spiritual closeness, relationship with true parents and heavenly parent, right? And yeah, I'm wondering like for someone that doing right now a 40-day workshop is almost impossible. I mean, you say that was impossible to you, and so I guess no one has a really excuse, but it's really difficult right now, right? What would you like me, for example, with a 1 year and a half daughter, a baby, what would you recommend to do to at least receive some of the benefits and as well um, maybe start this journey.
You got a little bit cut off while you were asking me the first part of your question, but
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
I was just asking, what you will ask, what do you recommend to someone that cannot go to the 40-day spiritual workshop right now in Korea?
Oh,
Um, like in my case with a baby, right? Or someone else that is in the other part of the world. What do you recommend for them to do instead to start this spiritual journey?
oh my goodness. You know, I mean, you can join the nightly prayer vigils, but even yesterday, Reverend Ikisang said there is a difference if you actually go to the Chanchimon prayer hall. I mean, in your country, but I've been telling this to everybody because I also stay at home because my kids can't go with me every night and they get scared if I leave them. My daughter stays with them, but um, now it's a summer break and I drag like they're like, mommy, can we go too? Yeah, sure, sure. I mean, they fall asleep there, some of them, but the power of the spiritual energy is different. It's so different. I can feel it in my hands because when we do Chanya, we were taught how to create ansu hands, how to get Heavenly Parents' love. The Chen One, it's the love that's coming out of our hands. That's healing. So it's putting light on the dark spirits because dark spirits they don't like the light. So when we touch our body, we're breaking the walls that they built, and we're putting light into that darkness. So if we want to receive as much help as we can, I think. And I think the best way is to be in the Chanchimuan Hall. I I think that there's no what's that word? Because I'm living in Korea so much, I forget a lot of the English words. There's no replacement, to not go to the Chanchimuan, to not go to the 40-day spirituality workshop. And they don't have any for the adults. It's mainly focused, like Mother she wants to raise little Buddhas. She said that you should create a program starting from the age of 5.
Oh, wow.
Yes, to train young children to be able to communicate with Mother when she goes to the spirit world.
Wow.
This is what she wants, so that there are many Christians throughout the world who communicate with Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mother, and then those people who communicate with Jesus all realize that the next level is to also, after you've got your training from Jesus, then you become connected to God. So True Mother is kind of like our training ground. She is the way. She is the vehicle that we need to get on, I guess. So our relationship with Mother helps prepare our hearts to become real filial children. So I want to say that, yes, you can join the Chanchimun prayer, but in this time where Mother's talking about the golden age, what is the golden age? It's the special time where we can really receive the heavenly benefits. And I think we have to make the effort to join it. We don't know how much longer Mother's going to be with us, but I know that if we are part of what's going on here in Korea, and the Chanchimun works, that you will feel the full benefits of it. And when I was with 66 other kids, I shouldn't call them kids. I should call them workshop participants. But they're like my children. Their age group is to be like my children. They're in their early 20s. And out of those 66, almost half stayed. They're doing volunteer work. Many of them are leaving now at the end of August. But we have still a very strong community. We all had kind of like a gathering a few days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And we're just like, we have a community of people. And then they're going to the 10th spirituality workshop already. It's the 10th. And so we're kind of like, Reverend Iki-san wants to build a group of young people who can support your mother, love her, witness on her behalf. And so it's just a wonderful, wonderful community that's growing. And you won't believe it until you come. Because I've spoken to some of my friends in my age group, and many of them that I've spoken to in America, they feel like, and this is my age group, it's like over 40. Our church is going to fall apart. There's nothing, there's too many schisms and all this negative stuff. But I was like, no. You need to come to what now it's called the Chombo Training Center, and
sorry,
feel what's
Yeunhee, hello?
Yes.
I lost your voice.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, that's me. Can you talk now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can you repeat? You need to come to?
Yeah, you won't believe it until you come to the actual place, to the Cheongpyeong Training Center, and you experience for yourself what's happening here. And I see healings every day. I myself am healed. And you know, I was trying to get a little bit anxious because the amount of people that I've been lecturing has been growing. This weekend I'm lecturing to about 200 young people from Europe. And that actually creates a lot of anxiety for me. But I realized that that anxiety is not from God. You know, like all this worry. So for 5 days, I had really bad stomach pain. And then that pain went to my back. I went to the doctor. I never really eat Western medicine, but I even started taking Western medicine. Nothing was working. I went to the herbal doctor. They gave me acupuncture and herbal medicine. It was not working. So I thought, oh my gosh, Heavenly Parents, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I ran to the prayer hall and I repented. I said, Heavenly Parents, I'm so sorry for not having faith that you could work through me. I'm sorry for not having faith and trusting that everything that is happening is according to your will. And I'm just an instrument and you're just using me, you know, you're just using me. So who am I to say it will work and not to work? And I really repented. And then, like a lie, I got up, I walked out of the prayer hall, and the pain in my stomach and my back was gone. It was completely gone.
Wow.
I called up my husband. I was like, honey, I just prayed and the pain is gone. And my husband, of course, he's like, yeah, it was time for you to get better. That's what my husband said. I said, no, honey, you don't understand. And so I left the prayer hall thinking, this is amazing. Like the pain was just gone. So, and then I went home and I just, you know, okay, when I started to hear like this negativity seeping into my mind and causing me to worry, I think, okay, stop, Yeunhee, stop. So, but I've seen people with Parkinson's disease get better, cancer. I was there for 40 days, every single day. I saw how people changed. I myself changed. I had such a judgmental, attitude towards even the staff, and even against Reverend Iki-sang. You know, I got to tell you something really funny. I did not like listening to his voice. Before I went to the training, to the 40-day spirituality workshop, and the thing that worried me the most was, oh my gosh, honey, I have to go to the prayer every single night, the prayer vigil every night, and I have to listen to him speak for almost 30 or 40 minutes. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know why I didn't like his voice. But after I was at the workshop and I really listened to his message, I guess there were just like a lot of spirits in my ears or something that was blocking me from wanting to hear his message. But when I really heard his message, it really touched my heart. And I felt like he was just talking to me. Everything that he was saying, I felt was just directed towards myself. And so I felt really embarrassed. But then when I started to reflect about myself, I realized, no, you are not a loving person. You were judging everyone. You had no compassion, no patience. You had no qualities about yourself that resemble God. So now I absolutely love listening to Reverend Iki-sang. You know, and his words are just, it's like he's a man, but I would say he's the first man that I know who has a really motherly heart. Oh, actually, my husband. My husband's also he's quite feminine. He has a really, I'm more masculine than my husband, but yeah, just so many. I went through a lot of realizations about myself, and also I realized, Mother, she's been talking lately about first, second, and third generation really needs to become one. Really needs to become one. Now, throughout the last, 4 years, while I was doing my research and really just talking to people, there are a lot of people that I met that were really able to receive True Mother's new words and digest her words, and really wanted to create this new way for the church. But many of them were really struggling with all of the backlash and also negativity that was coming through. They weren't agreeing with what mother was trying to do. And, many of them concluded, oh, yeah, we just need to get rid of those leaders. We need to cut them off. Or, they were saying these kinds of
Mm.
things. But I was thinking, really, is that the way? Is that the only way? And my husband would always tell me, no, we have to all work this out. We need to all work this out together. And he would remind me of that. And it was really difficult for me to also see that clearly until after I did the 40 days. And I really had these spiritual experiences of really understanding and feeling Mother's heart and how she really loves each one of us like her child.
Mm.
And recently Mother was saying, you are all my direct children. I don't know if you heard Mother's words about that, but she's been
Mm.
saying, you are my direct children, first, second, and third. So, we have like this first, second, and third generation thing, but actually in the spirit world, when you look, there aren't any kind of divisions like that. And True Mother is really emphasizing, you are all my children, even the ones that oppose her.
Mm.
So, yeah, even after I give my lectures, a lot of young people, they ask me, well, my leader's saying one thing and True Mother's saying one thing, another
Mm.
thing. I want to, go against, I want to do this for Mother. And I understand that young spirit to want to do something, but we need the first generation. We need them. They are our protection.
Mm.
They, I guess if you could look at it one way, they have 1 foot in the secular world. And then 1 foot they have this new understanding of the heavenly world. So they have paved the way for us. They moved forward for us, and it might be difficult for them to understand some things that Mother's saying, but we definitely would not have this foundation without them. And so we need to work this all out together during this time. We are not just in the golden age, but we're in the age of reformation. We're reforming many things. So, but of course, we need to also try to do what Mother's asking us to do, which is to receive this gift that she's given us from heaven, which is the Chunshimon prayer vigils. It's like solving all these problems, physical problems, mental problems, our health problems that could not be fixed in the hospital. Just so many testimonies, so many. So I hope that you can tune into the Chunshimon TV. Chunshimon TV, a lot of the testimonies are being translated, so they have English subtitles. Yeah.
That's amazing. Your testimony comes very handily right now, because we're gonna have a BFM staff in August 15 to 18 next week at the Chongqing
Oh,
One Las Vegas.
oh yeah.
So by the time you hear this published, probably that retreat passed. But I will send to all the participants this recording beforehand. And as well, we're gonna be hosting Chongqing One singles retreat. So this is a retreat for people who are single at the Chonshin one, so you can have spiritual experience and maybe be guided spiritually to your future partner. So we're gonna have several ages. So HBCs 20 to 29. We're gonna have the Chonshin one retreat in September 14 to the 17, and then all generation 30 plus. They're gonna have it on September 19th to the 22nd. And the 45 plus old generation is gonna be October 3rd to the 6th. No, sorry, October 4th to the 6th. So this testimony is a good opportunity because you could do both. You could go to the Chonshin one, receive experience. We're gonna be following the Chonshin one schedule, participating in all the night vigils and morning devotions, and the two answers per day, and then you're gonna even have time to do a special answer if you needed to. So it's a great opportunity for you to receive spiritual liberation and as well meet new people and maybe opportunities to find your partner. So this is when I
Yeah.
use the opportunity to share about
Like,
that.
you know, there's two individuals at the training center right now who's helping with the spiritual removal for people who is like has really difficult problems or issues with their health, and also with their, maybe it could be some kind of spiritual issue. So it's Mr. Kim Dok-soo and also Mrs. Kim Myung-ok. There's two people there, so I hope that they know, lots of the Western members will know that these two people are available, and yeah, please try to join. Yeah, you can't replace the experience. I really want my husband to do a 40-day. Really, I know it will change his health. So uh, how can I, what can I say to get more people to join? But it's changed my life. I also, a lot of my friends who see me, they just say I look like I got younger. They just say I look like I got younger. So I mean, that's a good thing too. I think for a lot of other women who are in their 40s and 50s, good health, look younger, feel younger. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, these workshops that they're gonna happen are shorter. Definitely, I think going to Korea and doing a 40-day workshop is the best thing that we can do, right? I know that taking 40 days off is really, really, really hard. But especially the students, if you're a student and you have the opportunity of taking 40 days
no,
off in the summer, just take it because it's gonna get harder in the future to do it. So,
yes. Yeah. Actually, my daughter, she's only 14, but she already decided if they have a spirituality workshop this winter, she wants to go before she
amazing.
goes into high school.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, there was this 18-year-old third gen that was in the group that we were in. The third gen are more spiritual. Wow. Things that she was going through while she was there. But also, I want to remind that it's not about becoming spiritually open. We are all spiritual beings, and there are spiritual things or abilities that you can develop, okay, but you have to be careful not to get too intertwined with the occult. You don't want, that's not a replacement for your relationship with God. Anyone can develop their spiritual experiences, but we have to develop our relationship with God.
Mm,
And even if we have conversations with God or we develop a relationship with God, it doesn't end there. We have to become filial children, filial children to God. So,
mm,
there are people who have relationship with God, but they look at God as God is my servant. I mean, I am a servant to God. That's a very Christian way of relating with God. We want to become filial children to God. So don't get so into this spiritual, attunement or developing or hearing or comparing yourself to others. Because when you're in that atmosphere, a lot of people are wondering, why does that person have these experiences and I'm not having this experience? And
mm,
you start to compare. And we received a message from Hyojin through one of the second gen who was able to become like a medium. He was receiving Trifalder's messages, Hyojin's messages, and he was passing them on to us. And Reverend Igi-san would read them to us. And one of the messages that we got from Hyojin was, stop comparing
mm,
yourself to others. Like, you will have the experience just like was it just made just for you. The spirit world is creating an experience just for you, the one that you need. So just focus on trying to connect with heavenly parents, with true mother and true father while you're in the Chunjimon hall and while you're praying and offering devotion. Don't worry so much about why am I not hearing? Why am I not seeing?
mm.
So yeah, you want to become a filial child. That's the fastest way to connect with God. Yeah, it's not about being able to see in the future, seeing the past, all these things. So that's not important. Yeah, you can't get mixed up in this area of occultism. No.
I feel like that last message was for me. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay.
Just because I don't experience I haven't experienced many spiritual experience, a lot of intuition, a lot of like guidance, but really no like visions or hearings, or even dreams are really hard for me to have. So I appreciate that last message.
Well, I've been reading and also listening to lectures of this Christian pastor. His name is Derek Prince, Pastor Derek Prince. He's already passed back in the early 2000s. And he's one of the Christian pastors that I love listening to. And he voice. You must really hear it. Like, not be like, was that God's voice? Or did I just feel it? No. You really need to hear God's voice to have faith in God.
Mm,
And I agree with him on that. But you don't need to kill yourself because you're not having certain experiences that everyone else is having. Yeah, that's the goal is to, I think we should have a daily goal of how we can become filial children to God. And then that will come naturally. I
mm,
mean, there are some children or some workshop participants whose testimonies that I heard where they demanded, they were like, God, how come that person is hearing you and I'm not hearing you? And then God
mm,
has revealed his voice to them.
mm.
So yeah, you can try it. A lot of interesting testimonies. Yeah.
So, Dr. Chang, any final words to close this interview?
No, not today. We're getting a little bit cut off once in a while, but no, I don't have any closing remarks today. I'm glad I can share this experience, and I hope that everyone will have this amazing experience during this golden age, be able to participate, find a way. If there's a will, there's a way. You can make it happen.
Thank
Maybe
you.
you can take I know a lot of moms have like 3, 4 kids. Maybe if there's 2 or 3 other people who wants to go, then they can all take turns taking care of each other's kids. And just, yeah, find a way. Because in the long run, it is such a good decision. Such a good decision. Oh, I will just say one thing. I have to give credit to my mother-in-law because I didn't know, but after I left the workshop and I came home and I really thanked my husband. Thank you for helping me go there. Thank you so much for suggesting that I go. And he said, "Honey, I have something I have to tell you. Actually, it was my mom's idea that you
Oh.
go spirituality workshop." And I was like, really? And then I felt a little sad. I was like, why didn't she just tell me herself? And then I looked back on myself and I thought, oh my gosh, how could she tell me? How could she? I was not in a state of mind where I could receive her suggestion. I was so judgmental and I was
Mm,
so angry. And so at that moment, I wrote her this long text. I said, Mom, I'm so sorry that it must have been so hard for you. How hard it must have been for you to convey your heart to me about this. And if I just thanked her and I apologized to her. And she wrote back to me and she said, it doesn't matter. I'm just so glad you had a good experience. And so I just so grateful to her for working through my husband. Yeah.
that's nice. I think that's the end goal, right? Where all of us as a families, we support each other to have times like that, right? To have times
Yeah.
like it would be really nice. It's like if our spouses, if our extended family, they say, "Hey, go, we take care of things here, and support you."
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. My husband was like that. Even my kids, my whole family, because we just live like 3 minutes away from the training center. And it's just a 3 minute drive. So my kids, when they did all come to see me, it was great. Um, the support and love that they gave to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really hope that everyone can have this experience. Yeah. Every single person.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony.
Thanks, Carina.
I know for the next episode that we're gonna have together, at least you're gonna be sharing with us your blessing testimony. So I'm very excited for that one as well.
Okay. Yeah. I'm revealing too much about myself. So I hope people don't get bored. But anyways, thank you for giving me this platform again. Thank you, Karina. I hope it helps. I really do.
For sure, it really helps. I have received so many good comments about it, so thank you.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Okay.
Thank you,
All right.
everyone. See you next time.
Okay. Bye.